Happy Saturday, friends, and welcome back to The Distressed Princess. I'm Rhonda. In today's video, I'm working on storybook fall DIYs. Now, when I say storybook, I mean cottagecore type decor that was inspired by my recent stay at this cabin in Omaha, Arkansas, which is just south of Branson, Missouri. It was the cutest decorated little cabin. You really felt like you were in a fairy tale there, and I loved how the owner chose just the perfect little details and chose the perfect cozy colors to make this a really magical stay for my husband and I. So I was really inspired by everything that I saw there, and I am going to recreate some of the feels with these projects today. Jumping into the first DIY, and my favorite one today is a DIY lamp, wireless lamp that can go anywhere. So I thrifted the lampshade. The material is from the Dollar Tree. You'll need 2 rolls of it. It comes in a roll and it's unrolled here. You'll need 2 rolls and a large brass candlestick. Now, any kind of, it doesn't have to be brass, but I love the look of the brass, and it's heavy. And so it's going to withstand the weight of, putting this lampshade. And we're going to actually have a light bulb, not a traditional light bulb. This light bulb I got from Walmart. I will share the link. And it is a LED remote control wireless, it goes on batteries, light bulb. And it even comes with the screwy thing that would go right into the candle holder's hole if the hole was just a tiny bit larger. So I will have to use some adhesive to make that sturdy and stay in place, but that really isn't a problem. I wanted to point out that this light has a cool setting and a warm setting. Then iron all the wrinkles out of your fabric first. And Dollar Tree has quite a bit of cute fabric, and they come out with different ones for each season. And so they have really cute fall ones out right now. So I have measured my lampshade top to bottom, and that was 7 inches. So I need to cut my fabric into 7-inch strips. And the one roll of this Dollar Tree fabric made 3 of those. And then I cut each of those strips into the smaller strips that are 2 inches wide. So 2 inches wide and 7 inches long. That's how long and wide mine had to be, but according to the measurements of your own lampshade, you will do the same. Then I took each strip and folded it in like this and ironed it flat, which isn't as tedious as you would think. It was all right. It only took me a little while to iron all of these little pieces into a nice crisp rectangle, and that's going to make the prettiest pleated lampshade. Then I hot glued each strip at the top and the bottom, slightly overlapping. You can see that some of my strips aren't even the same length, and that's okay because we're going to have trim at the top, trim at the bottom, and anything that's excess we're going to cut off, and anything lacking will be covered with trim. So here I am trimming up what was too long. And this is the crochet lace ribbon from Dollar Tree. You'll need 2 rolls of it to cover a lampshade my size. So just hot glue all around the edge at the bottom and all around the edge at the top. Or you could also buy extra of this fabric and use the same if you like a more, I don't know, modern finish look. But I like to add that little cottage detail. Now my brass candlestick was in really rough shape, and so I tested a spot with Rub and Buff, and I liked it. It kind of cleaned it up a little bit for me, so I decided to do the whole thing, and I just used my fingers with the Rub and Buff. I find that it's the easiest tool. It shines and does the best for me when I just use my finger. So it washes right off with soap and water. And so that's how I do it. Now we're almost done. Now we just have to attach the bulb to the candlestick. If that hole was just a little bigger, this would have been perfect. But since it's not, I had to use Gorilla Hot Glue. And this all functions just like a regular lamp. Just put the lampshade right over this piece, and the light bulb has a magnet that attaches to this piece, so it's all secure and it turns out just perfect. I like the warm setting. Oh, it is a push. You can use it like a push button light, or you can use the remote control. Now take this idea and run, because now you can have a lamp anywhere you want it. And hang tight, because the last DIY in this video, I'm showing you how to make this little felt cottage. But first, a quick DIY using this ceramic acorn dish at the Dollar Tree. Now remember, everything's $1.50 now, just about. And they have pumpkins too, but this is the first year I've seen the acorn, and it is really, really cute. I love this acorn, and it fits my storybook idea just perfectly. So I'm using a pillar candle that was damaged, and it was unscented, so I'm gonna have to add my own scent. But I'm cutting up this pillar candle, saving the wick. I'm gonna melt this wax down and make a scented candle. So I have a metal bowl that I'm putting the chunks of wax into, and then I make a double boiler on my stove. So I have a small saucepan with a couple inches of water at the bottom, and I'm turning on the heat, and I'm going to get this water to boil. And once the water starts boiling, it will melt the wax in this metal bowl. When I heard that the water was boiling, then I turned the heat down way low to simmer. You'll need something to stir your wax with. I just used these wooden dowels from the Dollar Tree. You also can use one of these wooden dowels to hold your wick. So you need something that's going to hold your wick in place when you pour your wax for your candle. I've had this coffee fragrance on hand for a long time, so I'm going to experiment with it. I don't know if it's going to be a strong smelling one or not, so I started out with a few drops and then decided what the heck. I just took the whole cap off and dumped it, and wound up using pretty much the whole thing. And what do we like to have with our coffee? Cinnamon rolls. So I put a few drops of cinnamon. I didn't want it to be overwhelming, like a Christmassy smell, so just a few. And when I was stirring this up, my husband said that this was making him very hungry. So I think it's going to be an awesome smelling candle. Now remember to leave a little bit of room at the top, because there's a lid that goes to these, and I want my lid to be able to still go on and off. So leave a little bit of space at the top. Then just let it set up and trim the wick. I poured the extra wax into this little mason jar, so maybe next time I need this scented wax, I can just microwave it. The next storybook Cottagecore DIY is using a basket that I thrifted, but I wanted to show you the booth that this basket came out of, because it was Cottagecore Deluxe in there. I'm wishing now I would have checked the price on that sampler. But back home with my basket, I just wanted to give it some black detail. I was inspired by one that I saw on kirklands.com. And so this is really simple to do. Just take some black chalk paint and put some black details. I just did the handle and around the bottom edge, because I kind of wanted to do a stripe in the middle, but I couldn't figure a way that I could do that without getting black paint just everywhere it didn't need to be. So I kept it simple with just the handle and then the black bottom part. All my florals came from Dollar Tree, and at first I left them in their bunches, but they were standing up too tall and hiding my pretty black handle. So then I took them out, took them all apart, and cut them out separately with my wire cutters and then reassembled. The important piece here to make this a cottagecore storybook bouquet is the coloring of these pumpkin picks that I got from the Dollar Tree. These colors go perfectly together and I love it on my mantle. Now, something I'm not sure I've shared, I collect storybooks. This top one isn't really a storybook, but I collect old storybooks and little golden books. And whenever I can, I like to use them in my decorating. So here is a close look at my storybook fall mantle. It's a lot of fun. I love the little critters. The squirrel came from the Dollar General store. Every single pumpkin came from the Dollar Tree except for the ones with the leather bows. Them came from the Dollar General store. My sister got me the pretty sign in the middle, and of course you know where the basket came from. And the little hedgehog that's peeking around the corner, he came from the Dollar Tree. Now, the little felt cottage, I saved it for last because it is a detailed project. I got started on this and I just had to keep going. I kept having to add stuff, more and more stuff. You could get so creative with this project, and all you really need is cardboard, felt, and a few little doodads. So what I did was I took the cardboard and I cut out some pieces to make a house, and then I taped those pieces together to make sure that it was going to be the shape and size that I wanted. Then when I knew that it was going to construct properly, then I cut those pieces out of felt and I put a little ½ inch or inch around each edge. Here are my pieces of felt all cut out, and I did a little beginner embroidery. I'm not really good at it. I'm just toying around with it, and so I thought it would be a cute detail, and that's going to be on the front of my house. Then I used some embroidery thread and did a blanket stitch to attach all of these pieces together. If you've never done a blanket stitch, it's one of the easiest things that you can do, and it's very crafty. Now then, by this point, you should have something that looks like this, a little house slip cover. Now you can use spray adhesive, whatever glue you have. I'm using this fabric glue, and I found it easiest, instead of squirting it on, to dip this wooden dowel stick in and use it like paste. And once you get it all slathered onto your cardboard piece, then slide it down inside of the felt house. And repeat this process with the other 3 walls, making sure that the felt is adhered to the cardboard. I love that the piece of cardboard I'm using, which is a chewy box by the way, has this fold in the middle. It makes a great roof. It makes it a lot easier for us. So then I cut out some brown felt to go on this roof. And I made all my pieces just a little hair bigger than what the cardboard is, and that's for a reason. Then I used the fabric glue and pasted the brown felt onto the roof, and I used hot glue on the center. And I used a little dot of hot glue in each corner. Then, using the same brown felt, I cut out a scallopy trim, and I traced around a quarter to get a good shape. I cut out 3 pieces to go on each side of my roof, and then hot glue them down. I did wrap the felt around a couple of the edges of the roof to give it a finished look. And here's our cute scallopy roof. I didn't get it recorded, I'm so sorry, but there are 2 cardboard pieces that I added to the house. So there's a roof for the roof to attach to. You gotta have something for this piece to attach to. So I've got a roof, which is just 2 cardboard pieces already on the house that are hot glued on there, and then I attached the felt roof onto that. Next, you get to add the trim and hide any hot glue imperfections, because with felt I had a lot. So that's why I have some more of this gingerbread trim that I'm covering up the little hot glue imperfections. And then I wanted a wooden door. So any thin little piece of wood thing that you can get at the Dollar Tree is really easy to cut with a utility knife, and I cut out a wooden door. I sanded around the edges and then I stained it just using antique wax. For a doorknob, I used a little round push pin, and I'm going to use some black chalk paint to paint it up to be black. But this push pin was perfect to use because I could push it right through that thin wooden door, and it's also going to push through the cardboard of our house and be able to be secured by hot glue in the back. For windows, you could use popsicle sticks or any kind of little wooden sticks, and I didn't have any, so I'm disassembling this box of little doodads that you get at the Dollar Tree, and you get perfect little wooden slats. So I'm going to use those, cut them down to size, stain them, and make windows. I hot glued all of my little wooden pieces to make a window frame, and I even tilted one up to make a window sill so it is attached, like coming out. Then I hot glued the door and all the windows to the cottage. I took a wooden plank that came from the Dollar Tree and I cut it to size to fit inside the bottom of the house, and this keeps the walls upright better. And then there were the doodads that I colored with the acrylic markers and hot glued them onto the cottage. Those came from the Dollar Tree, but any little doodads that you have that make you happy or you think could decorate your own little cottage, put them on there because it's all about creativity and having fun. So I could go on and on with this storybook theme, but that's all I've got for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you back here next Saturday.